Kusuma V, you are from Kusuma V.
Santosh sir, we are on live YouTube.
Yes. Kusuma SD.
Santosh sir, shall we start? Hello.
Sir, good morning. Very good morning to all who are present here and who are attended this workshop. I welcome Ajit sir to this occasion. And over to you, sir. Please go ahead with the things. Thank you very much for yes.
So very good morning to all of you. So before I start up, let me first share my PPT. So before I show you how you can develop a web page, how you can create a prototype of a website or a web page, I would like to show you few aspects of interactive design approach to web development. That is our today's topic. So I like to share my PPT. Just a minute. I hope it's visible to all of you. Can somebody please confirm me?
Yes, visible, sir.
Okay, right.
Visible, sir.
Yes, fine. So today's topic is an interactive design approach to our web development. I think this is most sophisticated word to have this terminology called as an interactive design approach. See, we are all very familiar about websites. We know we look every day. We are totally have a dependency on one or the other website. Say, for example, if you want to look into your results, you search for some website, or if you want to apply for some examination, then you again log into some website. Um, Vijay Kumar sir, you have anything? I mean, you have just Vijay Kumar sir.
Nothing, sir. Nothing. Just nothing can good, sir.
Fine. So we have one or the other way. It has become a part and parcel of our life. I mean, the dependency of our websites. So, as a technical student, I mean, as a science student, I mean, everybody. It is not only about the science or the commerce, or irrespective of the background. We are always fond of how these websites are created. What are the basic things that we need to understand before I create a website? Today, I'm not going to actually teach you how to create a website or a web development, but I'm trying to teach you before you start develop a website, how do you create a prototype of it? When I say a term prototype, we generally call it as a blueprint. When you construct a home, first and the foremost thing that what we do is we directly do not put on these stones or the bricks and cement. We don't construct directly. What we do, we create a layout. So how you can create a beautiful layout before you develop a website. So that is what your interactive design approach is. Why I have taken this topic is because this particular interactive design approach has a lot of future in the market and lot of job opportunities are available in the market. The reason is I have to know as a web developer, if I want to deliver a website to my client or the customer, it's very important that the customer has to know how his website comes. What is the outcome? How my website will look like after the completion. So why don't I create a prototype of this? Why don't I make this blueprint? So this is the first point. The second point is once I create the prototype, it becomes very simple for the web developers to develop the website looking into the designs. So it is something like you create a predefined template, not exactly the templates, but a kind of a template. That is what I call it as a prototype. Okay. And the common terminology for this design approach is what we call it as user interface and user experience. So you might have heard about this UI and UX. UI is nothing but user interface and UX is nothing but the user experience. What exactly your user experience or the user interface is? You know that when I say the terminology user interface, if I sit in some in front of the mobile or the computer, you interact with your screen. You interact with your mobile screen or your desktop screen, or you interact with your mobile application. So whatever that you see on the screen, your application will start telling what you have to do, or you give the instruction to your application or the website that what you are supposed to, what the system has to do, right? There is a communication happening between your screen or what you see on the screen and you. So that's what you call it as a user interface. User interface. See, when I want to, when I'm just want to purchase a product in an Amazon, which I directly go and click on Amazon.in or Amazon.com, whichever the website is that I want to purchase a shoe. And once you purchase the shoe, you're satisfied. Probably you're satisfied with the product. And why do you go back to the same website, and why do you want to purchase the same, I mean the same, or from the same platform you would like to purchase some other product? Why is it so? What makes the website so that it makes the customers to revisit again and again and purchase the product? It's not about the price. First and the foremost thing is, most of us think that probably Amazon will give or the Flipkart will give for the discount. Of course, that is also one of the reason. But the first and the foremost thing, why the most of the users visit the websites, the familiar websites frequently, is because of its simplicity, is because of its interface. If the interface is so simple, if you have designed an Amazon website very simple, so it gives for a common man to access it. So that is where your interface plays a major role. Providing a simple interface for the user makes the user to revisit a particular website again and again. Their user interface comes into the picture. So generally we call, when technically, if I want to speak, when I say UI is nothing but how it looks, how the aesthetics are designed. When I say the term aesthetics, say it is artistically how your interface looks like, how beautifully your interface looks like. So once I use a website, the second thing is the satisfaction that what I get after using the website is what I call it as an experience. See, if I'm not satisfied with the interface, I don't continue or I don't revisit the same website. If you're satisfied with the interface, then you try to take the experience of that, what you are going to get. You're trying to get a satisfaction after using it. After whatever the satisfaction that you get after using it is what we call it as an experience. We hold the experience of making use of your website. So this is one kind of a technique, not exactly a technology. I can call it as a technique. What we generally call it as user interface and user experience. User experience deals with the functionality. I will come to that functionality later stage. In upcoming slides, I'll be showing you how the functionality are, what actually the functionalities are. There are few characteristics which are associated with user experience. So whenever a user is experiencing a website, whenever he is trying to access a website, whichever the website might be, it might be a Netflix, it might be an Amazon Prime, it might be a Flipkart, it might be a gaming interface, whichever the website it is. As I told you, what kind of satisfaction that you gain after using it is user experience. There are few characteristics which are associated with it. So the first and the foremost thing is usefulness. What exactly the usefulness is? See, as a customer, when I visit any website, first and the foremost thing is, does it fulfills my need? If you have logged into any website, first and the foremost thing that what I think as a customer, if I'm using a website, if I have a interface, logging into a website, what I first look into is whether this website fulfills my need. That is what we call it as a useful. Then the second one is usability. What exactly the usability? If the website is not easy to use, if a customer fails or he struggles to revisit the website again and again, then as an experience, the website is failed. So there are n number of websites which are available. There are n number of e-commerce websites which are available, but still we prefer only few websites. Why we prefer few websites is because of ease of use. That's what we call it as a usability. The third characteristics is the desirability. When I say a desirability, see, something there should be an evoking. I mean, it has to provoke something emotionally, and you have to get connected with that particular website. And once you have completed performing or experiencing that satisfaction, you have to appreciate it. You have to say the same thing for your friends. Yeah, this website is very beautiful. This is what I have done with this website. So that there is one kind of a communication that you are making use to some other people. That means you are transferring your experience to the somebody. So that's what we call it as desirable. It evokes the emotions and the appreciations. That is what the desirability. The next one is the findability. Say, now the functionality comes into the picture. When I say the term functionality, the findability is also very closer connected to the functionality. What exactly the findability? So for example, you have purchased a product. What you do, you click on a product and you click on the buy. Once you select buy option, the next one is you confirm your product. Once you confirm your product, you have to pay the amount. Once you complete your payment operation, then what are you going to do? You get a message. You get a message that your transaction is completed successfully. See, there is a stage by stage process, right? What we call it as navigateability. Findable or functionality is nothing but you are navigating through a particular process. You do have a step-by-step procedure to perform an operation without any ambiguity. That's what we call it as findable. It becomes very easy for me to identify or to find what is the next step. Once I complete this step, I know what I have to do. That is what the kind of experience that you get from your website. So these are the characteristics which you have to look into before you design any website. The next one is the accessibility. So it's very simple. I mean, whether whatever that you want to access from your website, whether the requirement of your website is being obtained by the website or not, whether you can say you want to access the profile of a person, whether it is accessible or not. Many of the times, if you want to really purchase a product, definitely you have to log in. Until unless you do not log in, you cannot purchase a product. But when it comes to one kind, you can just look into the product, but you will not be able to purchase the product until unless you have a credentials. So that's what we call it as an accessibility. Then the next one is the credible. The credibility is where the trust and belief comes into the picture. So you have made a payment after purchasing a product, right? How do you believe that, yes, Amazon is going to send me a product? It is the trust that what you have or what the website delivers to you, so that you rely on them, you have a trust on them, and you believe whatever they say is right. That is how my web page or web design has to be. So when you are designing a website, very important characteristics what you have to look into is you provide a proper credibility. There is a proper trust and belief where the customer should have in you, and whatever they tell you, they have to, I mean, you listen to it and you trust them. That is how a website design has to be. The next one is the valuable. So when I say the term valuable, it's where, just a minute, whether it is worth revisiting the website. That's how my website design has to be. So these are the very important characteristics of user experience. So UI and UX is one kind of a technique where it will help you to design a website or a web page based on the user's requirement, so that the user's requirement are satisfied and they experience the satisfaction based on these specified characteristics. So when you hear UI UX, it's nothing but you are going to design a website, or you can also design a mobile application. You are creating an interface and you just design how an experience once a particular website or an application is being used, how the user is going to experience the product, experience the website. So these characteristics will really play a major role, and this characteristics is basically defined by Peter Morvillian. So he is the one who has specified these characteristics. So the next part of your user interface, see the design approach. The sophisticated term is design approach, but a simple common terminology or the technique that what we use is user interface and user experience. So we have 1 minute. Okay. Then there are two different approaches to interaction design. Very, very important thing. Whenever we say user interface and user experience, they are two different terminologies. User interface specifies the aesthetics, the looks, and user experience gives you the functionality or the findability. So whenever you are designing a web page or the website, there are two different approaches where an interaction design can be delivered to the customers. What are those two? One is ACD, which is called as activity-centric design. The other one is user-centric design. See, maybe the terminology might be new for you, but it's a very simple statement. So I'll take, when it comes to the ACD, most of you have used your ATMs, right? Again, when you go to your ATMs, definitely the ATMs will also have the interface. What you do, you take a card, insert the card, and it will ask you to enter your PIN number, and it will ask you what kind of an account is this? Is this a savings bank or a current account? Then it will ask you what is the amount that you would like to draw. There are so and so operations where you are doing it, right? See, when it comes to the activity-centric design, your ATM is the best example for activity-centric design. Why it is so? Because a user listens. A user is going to listen based on the design, based on the machine there, right? Whatever the machine says, the user, as a user, I am going to listen according to it. So I know, though I know how the operation works, but I have to listen to the design is made. The interface is made in such a way that whatever the interface says, according to the interface, I have to work. That is activity-centric design. When I say user-centric design, again, I take another example. It's your Amazon. What happens is design gets adopted based on the user's requirement. See, when it comes to the ACD, in ACD, design does not get changed according to the user requirement. But when it comes to the user-centric design, design gets adopted based on the user's requirement. So that is the two different approaches. So nowadays, that whatever that we are using, we have totally dependence upon user-centric design. So user-centric design is where the design gets adopted based on the user's requirement, where you cannot find that in activity-centric design. So you can take any mobile applications. Say, if you are using an Amazon application or the Amazon website, once you purchase a product, it starts giving you the few of them. I mean, few products, which it is starts giving you the few of the list of the products which you are interested in. Maybe an artificial intelligence or the data warehouse, data mining comes into the picture, but the design is done in such a way that the design itself will get adopted to the user's requirement, where you don't have this opportunity in activity-centric design. Whatever the design says, that you have to do it. But the system will never get adopted to the user's requirement. That you can get it in UCD, that is user-centric design. Then, if I want to really design a web page or a website, so the important thing that what we have to know, what we have to understand is design thinking process. As I told you earlier, if I want to construct a home, directly I don't buy cement or the raw materials that are required to construct the home. First and the foremost thing is I plan it, right? A simple way is how I plan so that I get a better design. That's what we call it as a design thinking process. So there are few stages which are associated with design thinking process. What exactly this design thinking is? See, your design thinking is nothing but it is going to provide you a kind of a solution based on the problem approach. How the problem can be approached, based on that, we start providing the solution in terms of a design. That's what we call it as a design thinking. So you provide a solution for your problem based on the design approach. This is what we call it as a design thinking. So there are 5 different stages which is involved in design thinking. One is the empathize. The second one is define. The third one is ideate, or prototyping is the fourth one, and last one is the testing. So we will go through all these things, and in this workshop I will be showing you how you can perform this prototyping operation. Why? Because empathize, define, ideate is a manual work. It's not a computational work. When it comes to, see, before you start doing a prototype, as I told you, prototype is a blueprint to create a website. So before you start doing it, what are the first few things which we have to look into? I mean, how you perform an empathize, what exactly an empathize is, what you have to define, and what you mean by ideate. So I'm going to tell you how we can do it. The first and the foremost thing is Empathize. Empathize, the simple word for their empathize is, before you develop a website, you start doing a research based on the user's requirement, based on the customer's requirement. What does a customer require? Say, for example, you are all familiar with using your courier service. We have professional courier service, we have Blue Dot courier service, we have n number of courier services. You might have used the website of them. Now you know that as now I am a web designer or I'm a web developer. I have a customer where he has asked me to develop a website or design a website for a courier service. The first and the foremost thing is I have to take an input from him. Once I have completed the inputs, taking the inputs, now what I have to do is I have to start performing a research, which involves in three different methods. One is brief summary, the second one is user research, and the third one is user persona. See, you collect the basic and the primary information from the people, I mean from your client, whoever is your client, you collect the basic information, what it is, what exactly the problem statement is, and you collect all those things. And now there is a lot of difference between collecting the or making a research from your client and making a research from the users. See, when you are designing a website for a courier service, it's very, very important that who is your target audience? Who is going to use my courier service? So based on the people who takes my service, based on that, I have to design my website. It's not based on your client. Of course, the client has few ideas. He has come to you. He has given the problem statement to you. So you keep that problem statement, list out the parameters. Now you start researching who is your target audience and what is the requirement of the target audience. And all these research collective materials are kept in a place called as a persona. We call it as a persona. So this is how a persona looks like, user persona looks like. There are few tools. There is one tool called as a Milanote. So where you can make use of those Milanote. Sorry. Okay. So user persona is one method where you collect all the requirements based on the users. I mean, whatever the user needs it, you collect it. Say, for example, a courier service. You take the experience of individual user. What is the experience that he has got? Some people say a positive feedback. Some people might give a negative feedback. You collect all those feedbacks which are given by the different people who belong to the different sectors. So when I take a courier service, it is not only one sector of people who is going to take the courier service operations, right? There are different kind of people who will take the benefit of this courier service. So as a designer, I have to meet those people and collect the information, collect the input from that. Say what exists, what are the things that you expect from a customer, sir? I would ask a question to the user that what is the experience that he has got so far from using the courier service website? And what is the pros that he has looked into, and what are the new things that he is expecting from the upcoming courier service websites. So you have to collect all those things as a designer. This entire approach can be kept and placed what we call it as a user persona. So this is what we call it as a empathize stage. So once you have the user's requirement or the client's requirement, the next stage that what you are going to do is define it. You define what is the objective. Now you have the consolidated information of the user and the client. So now based on all these parameters, define what is an object, define the scope in such a way that these objectives are met, and then decide the strategy. Whenever I say this term strategy, it's very, very important. So I have seen many startup companies, people coming up with the startup companies and say that they need a website, they need a mobile application where the people wants to use it. In spite of having so many ideas with the startups, they lack in developing a proper strategy. Why they lack in developing a proper strategy is because of maybe a kind of an inexperience. Of course, they will learn from their the mistakes. But the thing is, they don't define who is their target audience. So for example, some people would like to watch an action movie. Some people would like to watch an comedy movie. Some people would like to watch an art movie. So different people will have a different ways of looking into the film. They will have their own different genres. They will have their different taste to look into the movie. See, if I'm making a movie, first and the foremost thing is I have to decide who is my target audience. So that is a primary strategy. When you decide a strategy, first and the foremost thing is you look into who is your target audience. Based on that, you can specifically, precisely, you can define your objective and you can also define the scope. Okay. So in design approach, always in the design approach, look into and check who is your target audience. Once you know who's your target audience, it becomes very easy to develop an objective and the scope based on the empathy state. The next one is, this term might looks like something, it's idiot. No, it's not an idiot. See, there are two different words here. Idea is there, right? So you develop, see, you have defined the scope, you have defined the objective, you have defined your strategy, and you know what you have to do. Based on that, now you start developing an idea how my website should look like. What is the expectation where I can meet the user's requirement once I start developing a website. You develop an idea here. To develop an idea, we have a few steps here, and there are few tools as well which will help you to once you develop an idea. Usually what we do, we take a paper, we take a pen, we start scribbling whatever the ideas that we get. But for a user interface and user experience, we do have some tools. I will show you which are those tools. I'll give you the examples of those tools. First and the foremost thing, once you got an idea, you stick on to creating a mind map, and then you create a user flow, and then you go for the mood boards. So we have three different stages here. Let me tell you what exactly a mind map is. Looking into this particular picture, this slide, by the time you might have come to know that what exactly a mind map is. Say when I say a courier service, now say let my courier service company name is a Dravet. Okay. So now what I have to do, I have to create a website. I'm very clear that I want to create a website for a courier service. Now you know that what are the different things that you want to add it into your website based on the user's requirement. So what I have done, I have created few lists here that what are the things that I need to add it in my website. I would like to add about the company. I would like to add who are my partners. I would like to add the status of my consignment. I mean, what happened to my consignment? If you have sent some consignments, what is the status of my consignment? Then tracking of your consignment, and you definitely need the pricing of your consignment, and you should provide a 24/7. See, all these things that I would like to put it in my website. Definitely when I'm starting a website or a startup, what I have to do is I have to also create a logo for it, for just for an identification or for creating a brand to my company. Now, using this mind map, what I can do is I can add what are the things that I would like to place it in my logo. Say, when I say a logo might have a monocolor or a multicolor, whichever that is. So I decide what are the different colors where I would like to add it in my logo. And what are the things that I would like to put it in my logo. Maybe I would like to add some rabbit. I would like to represent an image which contains a home-to-home delivery. Maybe I would like to add a logo representing a connecting people. See, whatever the idea that comes into the mind before I develop a logo or a website, I mind map all these things and just you scribble the things, right? So you have a tools for scribbling out and put all your ideas at one particular place. And we have one tool called as a Whimsical. This is a free tool. You can go to this website, and this website will give you a platform to create such kind of tool. I mean, such kind of an interface here. You can create such mind maps. To create such mind maps, say I'm developing an idea how my courier website has to be delivered, how I have to create it. So these are the things that what I can create. Whatever the idea that comes into the picture, I start representing that into a mind map. And to create such kind of a mind map, I'll be using this is one of the tool. Whimsical is one website where you can make use of this website. It's a free of cost. and you can start putting all your ideas. See, mind map is not only used for your web developments, it can also be done for poster development. If you are interested in posters, creating a posters, put all your ideas there. So once you have all your ideas, then it becomes easy for you to start your designing process. If you want to design a logo, if you want to design a mobile application, mind maps will play a major role. Okay, so the next stage is a user flow. What exactly a user flow is, and that is what I was speaking about earlier. I mean, when it comes to your accessibility, one of the characteristics of your user experience. See, when you are using a website, what I do is I want to look into the product. The first and the foremost thing, if somebody wants to visit a website of mine, what is the stages that if he wants to purchase a product, what are the different stages that it has to be there? I have to decide that. A user first looks into the product. He finds the product basically, and then he looks into the image. That is a common thing that everybody does. They don't read the description first. They look into the image and then they will read the description. If the image is satisfied to the user and the description is satisfied to the user, the next stage that what he's going to do is he will put the particular product to the cart. Maybe for various reasons, he may continue with the carting or he may quit his shopping. So I have decided the user flow. If the user is using my website, this is how he has to use. So first thing is you develop all your ideas and place it at one place. And the second stage is you create a user flow, how my website has to be. I mean, in what flow a user can use my website in a proper flow. So that's very, very important to decide what is the user flow before you start creating a website. Okay, and you design whatever that you want. Again, you can make use of a whimsical. It is just a rough sketch that whatever that we are doing it here before you start developing a web page. I mean, web designing. It's not complete web development. I'm only speaking about web designing. There is a lot of difference between web designing and web development. I'll tell you at the end of the session. Okay. In between, if you have any queries, you can put it in the chat box, so I'll be able to answer your questions. The third stage is the mood boards. What exactly the mood board is? See, now I know what are the things that I have to put it in my website. I know how the flow where a user can make use of my website. So I do know that. The next thing is I want to get inspiration to create my website. I want to decide what is my color combination. What are the different fonts that I can make use in my website? What kind of a text that I have to deliver? What kind of a layout that I have to deliver? So to do this, I mean, to look into all these things, I have to get some inspiration. Maybe a color combination, maybe a font combination, maybe the layout, maybe the placing of an image at an appropriate position. Lot of things comes into the picture. So you have to create a mood board. So you get an inspiration. See, mood board is not that you copy paste some others works and put it in your place. Okay. Okay. Right. So it's very, very important that I want to get an inspiration. It's not that you copy paste from somebody's work. So looking into somebody's work, you might get a new ideas. To get new ideas, you have to create a mood board. Okay, so bringing a new ideas from an existing one, you need a place where you can do it. Then that's what we call it as a mood board here. So yes, to do that we have an online tool called as a Milanote. You might be fond of some coffee shops, you might be fond of some ice cream shops, you might be fond of some beauty parlors, you might be fond of some other sari shops, or even a medical shop and a hospital. You might be fond of most of the designing elements you can see in and around us. One or the other way, we are all associated with the designs. We get attracted with the designs, right? So if I want to see, I don't have to be an artist to do all these things. I should have only the taste. I should have, an aesthetic way of thinking it to become a designer. Definitely designer doesn't need any you should not be an artist. You should have a creativity. If you have a kind of a creativity, designing approach has a lot of future. If you want to develop a poster, yes. If you want to develop a certificate, yes, the design approach comes into the picture. You take anything, advertisement, design approach comes into the picture. Very similar to that, even your web development or an app development also involves in design approach. So if you see here, I have just put an image here. What did I like in this particular image? I like the typeface is nothing but the font. The way that how the font is used, I liked it. So I have put it on a mood board. So the colors that is being used in this particular picture. So that's why I have taken this. I may use this color combination in my website or I may not. But to get an idea, I will create all the mood boards. So you can use this Milanote to put all your ideas, whatever that you need in terms of a color combination, in terms of a face, in terms of a background, in terms of an images that how you have to put, in terms of a layout, irrespective of that. So you can put all this consolidated and put it on one particular mood board. So we have completed with an emphasis. We have defined what we need. The second stage is we have defined what is our objective, what is our scope, and what is our target audience. Now I do have an idea. Definitely, I do have an idea now. I have developed all these ideas using the mind map process. I have done this using creating a user flow. I have done some homework to create my mood boards. What is the next stage? It's prototype. Now it is time to design based on the emphasis, based on the definition, based on the idea that what you have developed. So here prototypes are being classified into three different types: wireframe, design system, and hi-fi prototype. Today I'll be showing you the hi-fi prototype. What exactly these are, I'll just show you with few examples here. So you can see that this is just a kind of a website. I have just written this in a piece of paper. I have just written this in a piece of paper, how my website has to be, where should be my header, where should be my footer, what should be my layout, where should be my home page, where should be my login button, where should be my logo. You scribble that in terms of a paper, right? So this is what we call it as a wireframing. So this is paper wireframing, or it's also called as a manual wireframing. So you make use of a paper and pen, you scribble it out on the paper, and you decide whatever the things that you needed. See here, you can see this is where my login page has to be. You develop whatever the idea that you have developed. This is where my the video has to be displayed on my web page. Okay, so this is one kind of a wireframe, and the same thing can be done using a tools. So you have a Milanote as a tool, you have a Whimsical, where it also helps you to create such kind of a wireframes. So paper writing, paper scribbling wireframe is also possible, or you can also make use of this one. I mean, a tools like Whimsical or a Milanote to create a wireframe. How it looks like. It's a prototype. It's a paper prototype. It's just a blueprint how you can do it. Okay. The next one is the design system. So in the design system, as I told you, you decide what is the color combination that you would like to put it on your website. What kind of an images that you would like to put it on your website. What kind of a fonts that you are using in your website. What kind of a layout that you are using in your website. What kind of people that you are using your website. So this is what we call it as a design system. Okay, so you decide your interface based on the requirement of a color combination, based on the requirement of the layout, based on the type of the device, based on the type of the user. You set few of the parameters. Based on the few of parameters, then you design your system. So that's again a kind of a prototype. So the last and the important one which we are going to discuss today is hi-fi prototype. How I can see with all these few ideas, do I have a tool where I can create a blueprint of my web page or a website? Yes, you definitely have a tools. Some of the tools are Sketch, Figma, Adobe XD, Elementor, FrameX, and Marvel. Adobe XD is a very familiar a tool which everybody use in the design approach. And Figma is another tool which is used by various industry. I mean, Sketch is only for your Mac. It only supports your Mac version of operating system. Figma Adobe XD is available both for your Windows as well as for your Mac version. Okay. So using Figma, today I'll be showing you how you can create a website or a web page, a blueprint of a website. So I'll close this slides. If anybody has any questions before I switch over to Figma, please ask. So I'll be ready to answer. Then we'll move on to the how you can create a website. Anybody has any questions? You can put it in a chat box, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions. See, the overall idea is how, before you develop a website, how do you design a website? There is a lot of difference between design and development. Design is where you create a prototype of it. Okay. Development, once you create a prototype, then you start developing using the code. Here, the designing does not need an expertise of coding. There are a few techniques which I would like to show you later by. When you have designed it, how do you convert that design into a code? That I will show you at the end of the session. So if you do not have any questions, so I'll straight away move on to the Figma tool. I'll be using a Figma. Figma is the tool. I hope you can see the screen here. So this is how it looks like. This is the interface, how it looks like, where I will be using this Figma as a tool to design my website. Okay. So here you can notice that there is a new, just click on this and then create a design file here. When you click on this design file, depending upon the speed of your systems, it might take a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes to load all the components which are associated with Figma. So we'll wait for a couple of seconds so it just gets uploaded. Meanwhile, if somebody has any questions, you can ask me. The very important thing is the job aspect. So before I start with this, if you want to pursue as a professional, you want to become a professional user interface or a user experience, see, there is a lot of scope for web designers rather than web developers. If you know web development as well, it is an value added to your career skills. But most of them in India, especially in India, there are people who will charge 25,000 rupees per hour for designing. So you can also, if you are creative enough to do it, you can also become a freelancer. And the other beauty of learning the Figma or any tools which is associated with user interface or user experience is you can become a freelancer. You don't have to go and stand in front of somebody's company and ask them to give the job. Not required. You only need few skill sets. If you know few skill sets, the company people will come to you and you can work as a freelancer. Freelancer is not that you are doing it for a free of cost. They will you charge for your work. You have no dependency on any other company. Whatever their requirements are there, you just satisfy their requirement by charging a few bucks. Okay, so you don't have to worry that you did not have the job and all those things. Okay, straight away coming to how you can create a website, I will show you a couple of pages how you can create web pages using the Figma tool. Here it's a very simple tool. You can notice that there are a lot of tools available. It's a drag and drop interface. So first and the foremost thing is I want to create a frame. Frame is nothing but a page that what I would like to display on the website. Okay, so I have a frame here. Just click on this frame and you see a frame here, and you can also press F. So it directly brings an icon here. Once I press this frame, you can notice that what kind of a frame that you want to do, whether you want to create a frame for your desktop, whether you want to create a frame for your mobile phones, and you can see the various versions of your mobile phones, including iPhone, and whether you want to create a web interface for your tablet or for the desktop. As of now, I want to create a web page, which how it looks like on the desktop systems or a laptop systems. So I'll just click on this. Already the size is given in terms of a pixels. So I'll just click this. automatically the page is seen here. You can see the page here. So this is the workspace. This is the frame where I can just use this frame to put all my web contents. So the other thing is you can drag it. See, it's a very beautiful thing where you can easily drag it. You can extend it. It looks very similar to your rectangular box, and you can decide it, whatever the contents that you would like to put it here. You can just simply zoom in and zoom out. You holding control and you can make use of your mouse button, scroll mouse button. So you can increase or you can decrease here. Now on this particular page, let me first create a home page. How do I create a home page? So for that, I would like to rename this. See here, you can see that there is a desktop one. I will just call this as home page for my convenience. So it will be easy for me to know what it is. So you can see that. Just double click on this and just type it as home page. Now this is my home page. Now before I add few contents to it, I would like to show you few things here. Now I would like to add, whenever I place any element, it might be a text, it might be an image, it might be a graphics, how it has to be placed. It has to be placed in a proper sequence. It has to be placed in the alignment has to be done properly. So what I do is I like to add a grid here if required. It's not mandatory. You can just add a grid here. So once you add a grid here, you can see a grid is nothing but a graph, where a graph is represented in terms of rows and columns. I don't want these many number of grids. So what I do, I'll simply click here and I can select that as, click on this and click on grid. You can see the column wise. So I'll select this column wise. So I can see I have 5 different columns, and you can decide how many columns that you would like to have. So based on that, if I say 8 and press enter key, you can see 8 columns are being created. This is just for our reference line. So you can, whatever the layout grid that you are looking into is just a reference line which will help you for placing your elements appropriately. How? I will show you now. Okay, now I would like to place the name of my company as a logo. Let my company name is an Impavit Technologist. So what I do is I will simply place a text here. So you have a text here, just click on here. Once you click on this, you can see that you have a few elements, a few text which is available. You can increase the font size and do whatever that you want here. You can change the font type. See, there is nothing to do with the code here. Only the tools are available here. Make use of the tools to design your web page. As simple as that. So I will select the type of, let me type my text here. The text that I would like to add is Impavit. So I cannot see the text. Let me increase the size of the text here. Somewhere like 36 or still 48. Okay, so that will do my job. Once I did this, let me change, if required, I can also change my font style. You have the different inbuilt fonts which are available here. So you can choose whichever the fonts that you like to. Okay, so this will do my job. So what I do, I will just place it wherever I want it. See here, you can see that I can decide and place where my text has to be when you have these grids. If you want to modify the grids, again, you will have the provision to modify the grids. So this is where I want to change this. And I would like to change the color of this. How do I change the color? You can see that you have a fill option here. Just click this and you select whichever the color that you are comfortable with. So as of now, this color suits my design probably. And then what I do, I can just make this as slightly bolder if required. Otherwise, you can leave it as it is. Okay. Now, this is the logo of my company. I have placed the logo of my company here as an Impavit. I would like to add few more text here. One is home page. This is a home page. Let me reduce the font size here, somewhere about 36. So and place it here. Okay, now you can see that it gets aligned automatically when you have a proper grids. I'll copy and paste it. So you have a provision where you can simply drag, copy and paste, called Control C and Control V. Everybody are familiar with that. You can simply press Control C to copy and paste it. And now what I do is, this is a home page, right? Since the home page is this, so it has to be highlighted. Since it has to be highlighted, let me leave it as it is. And now this is, once I click on this, this should be an about page. So once I do have this, I can place this at an appropriate position. Okay, and then, and again, what I do is I will have, I need 3 different pages. So what are the different pages that I would like to have is home, about, and features. What are the features as a company that I'm giving to my clients? Features. So now you can easily paste it like this. Just simply like this. So you will have an equal spacing between each of these elements. So to place your elements properly and align it properly, grids will play a major role. Now, once you have done with this, now you can simply remove this layout. Whatever that you have, the layout grids, you can just click this. It just gets disappeared. Okay. So now this is my home page where a logo is placed here, and home page, about, and the features. So now I would like to provide a login interface or the sign up interface to my page. So what I can do is I can place this somewhere here, exactly at the center. I can move this. When you click on that element, it will be selected automatically. You don't have to make any circus for that. Okay. Now here what I do is I would like to add few more elements to it, designing elements to it. So I'll take shapes are available, different shapes are available here, rectangle, ellipse. You can choose whichever the shapes that you want. I will just take a circle here and place it something like this. This is to add a design. That's all. Nothing special here. If I want to make it more interactive, see, that's what user experience gives us. Make your website more interactive by adding few colors to it. Okay, then I simply place some text on it, and I'll call it as login. So I can simply place it as a login here. Okay, if you want, you can change the color of it. Let me make a color as white, or okay, let it be black itself, so it is visible for me. And let me reduce the size of it. So if I just click on this, it has to go to a login page. Okay, and very similar to that, I will also copy and paste it here and create a sign up page. So if you are first, or if you are new to your website, then sign up. Okay, a simple design interface. Okay, so if you want, you can also place it here if required. It all depends upon your requirement. That's all. It's not that you have to do it in the same way, but I'm just showing you how you are doing it. And before I make some changes to my website, so what I do is we usually know that when you are in the home page, these two, about and feature, is not highlighted. Usually when you are in the about page, this particular text will be highlighted, and watermarking home and the features. Very similar to that, when you are in the home page, your about and the feature should not be highlighted much. So what I have to do is I'll just click on this, and you can see something called as a pass-through here. This pass-through will reduce the opacity of an element. So you can just simply reduce the opacity to somewhere around 80. So you just reduce it to, you have this, and you can reduce it somewhere around 50. So you can see that the color difference. See here, you can find the color difference. Exactly black, pitch black, and this is reduced, indicating that this particular page is highlighted. So let me do the same thing even for this. So I'll just reduce this. Now it looks something like when you are in the home page, the home text is highlighted, suppressing about and the features. right? So this is how it looks like. When I click on the about, this particular about text will be highlighted, suppressing the home and features. That means these will be, this opacity will be very less. Okay. Now let me add few more design approach to this. I would like to add some text here. Let me assume that my website gives a provision where the people will take the service to store their data. They want to store and preserve their data in my website. I provide a platform where the people can store their data. So I'll just give what exactly it is, and I'll type it as save my data. And let me increase the font size. You have a font size here, just to show what exactly. So if you want to reduce, you can simply reduce it. Okay, so this will do my job. I will place it somewhere here so that it looks good. And let me change the color of it. Okay, so already these are the colors which I have already picked earlier. So I will be able to see the recently selected color. So I was very easy to take the same colors here. Now I would like to add what exactly that I do as a company. See, as a designer, I don't want to worry about what content that I would like to add, but still I want to add some text here. So to add some text, a dummy text, rather than adding the actual content, what I try to do is I would like to add some dummy content here. So I'll be using some dummy text here. So we have a plugin for that. Figma provides a beautiful plugin to add a dummy text, and that dummy text is called as a Lorem Ipsum. Lorem Ipsum is a kind of a tool, online tool, which is available, which will help you to place a dummy text. If you are not sure what text that you have to add it, you can place a dummy text. So Lorem Ipsum is one of the online available tool, and it's a plugin which is also available for your Figma to add few dummy text into your website. I mean, so you're not actually creating your website, but you're creating a prototype of your website. So there is nothing wrong in adding a dummy text. So once you go officially live with your website, then it's mandatory that you put an official data into it. Otherwise, you can only for our prototyping purpose, dummy text will be done. So somebody has some doubt. Let me. So how many number of words that I would like to place it, you can decide it. You can specify I would like to add 15 words and say generate here. Automatically the text will be generated. See, I did not type anything here. Right click, go to plugins, and I have something called as the Lorem Ipsum. So Lorem Ipsum is one plugin which is available in the Figma that will help you to add some dummy text into your website. Okay. So once I have generated this dummy text, I will simply increase the font size and place it somewhere here. Now, if you want, you can change the color of it, or you can leave as it is. So there is no compulsory for that. And if you want to make some alignment, whether you want to place it left side, equally align it, that all depends upon your requirement. And if say for example, there are few more text, if there are few more text to be added here, if a people wants to read more, wants to know more about the website. So what I do is I will create a button here, a small button that will give a provision. Once I click on that, it will help me to open another page to give a more content about my website, what exactly that I'm doing it. So what I'll take a rectangle box here. I'll use this rectangle box and I'll place a rectangle. Okay. First and the foremost thing is I can fill some required color to my rectangle. Here you have the fill option, and I'll take the same previous color, and this is done, but it does not looks like a button, right? So to make this as a button, just click on this, and I would like to create a curvature across the corners here. You can see you can create a curvature across the corner. So what I do is you have a provision. You can simply increase the size of it. When you can notice the difference. You can notice the difference there. See, a button is created automatically. So depending upon your requirements, see, automatically the rectangle is now converted into reducing. I mean, the corners are created, making it into a button. So here you click and you have a provision here, corner radius. You can type it or you can simply drag it. Okay, if you know what should be the radius of the corner, you can type it or you can simply drag it. So now it looks very similar to a button, but let me add a few more details to this. I would like to add an effect. You have an option called as an effect here. Once I click on this effect, now it literally looks like uh, a button now. See, when I add a shadow effect to this, it literally looks like a button. Okay, now here on upon this, I'm going to add some text. So if you want, I'll slightly make it darker than the normal so that I can place my text there. So let my text is read more. Read more. I will place it here. Okay. So you can place it. See here, you have the layers here. Whatever the things that you have created here, you can see all the layers here, which is very similar to your Photoshop. And now you can change the color of it. So I'll make this as a white. Now it looks something very similar to a web page. I mean, a button. Once I click on this, it has to open more and give you some information about what exactly my company is doing. Then what in case if I want to add some details to it? I want to add some image to it. What I do, I have some images. I will simply drag drop these images here. I have an option where I can drag drop it. See, I got an image. I had few images in my system. I simply drag dropped it. See, a beautiful interface of my website is created with very minimum less efforts, right? And now I would like to add few more details to it. I mean, every web page will have the header part. This is the header part, whatever that I have created. And I would like to add a footer part here. Before I add a footer part, I would like to add a few more details to it. If somebody is interested in my website, I just give an option for them to request a demo to take a service from our site. I'll just copy and paste it. So I'll just change the color of this as white. And then I have this shadow effect. This shadow effect, I would like to increase it. Okay, something like this. Now I will be able to add some text to this. So I'll just add a text upon it, specifying a request demo. Request for a demo. So you can change the color if required. So now, if you want, you can also add few icons to it if required. It all depends upon your requirement. So if I want to add an icon here, what I do is just right click on this and you can see a plugins available. Figma gives you to add large number of icons. There are few plugins which are available where you can add those icons into your system, into your web page. I have something called as feather icons. It is a plugin which is available, and I something have called as iconify. I do click this iconify. Once I click on this iconify, you can see lot of icons which are available. You can use those icons. So now what I need is I need a right arrow as an icon. And I'll just click find right icon. See, I got a large number of right icons available. I will choose whichever is suitable for my design. So I'll take this. This is sufficient and I'll click it on import. I click this as import. Close this. And I think where is that? Okay, somewhere it is here. You can see that a very small one. I would like to increase the size. So here you have the width and the height. So just replace the icon again. So here you have plugins, Iconify, and I will place this as I need somewhere about 54 and click this as import. Okay, now I got this. I will select this and I will place it like this. So now this gives you a feeling that if I click on this, it gives a service. It takes to another page where people can take a request for the demo. Okay. Now I would like to finally add a home page to this. I mean the footer to this. Just click on this page. You have this page, and as I shown you earlier, drag this out, and then you can place some text here. I mean a footer here, a simple footer. You can simply reduce the size and then change the color. So you can take a simple color and you can place the color. This will be your footer. So what you basically add is every company will have their social media. So I would like to place a text called as a social media. Maybe I present all my activities in the Facebook. I would like to add a Facebook icon, and you know how to add a Facebook icon. Just right click here and you have a plugin, and you can take this Iconify and type it as Facebook. Find icons. You will get lot of Facebook icons. Just click here and say import. You can, if you want, you can also increase the size. I'll call it as 64. Import the icon. So now it will be imported here. You can simply drag this out and place it here. And you can also change the color if required. Now a simple website of my company is created, and I would like to add a few details to it. So I'll take my logo, and the logo should also appear even in the footer place. So you can just simply change the color if required. And then you can add few more contents here, like home, reduce the size of the text if required. Then you can place copy paste, and you can make it as about. So this is how basically a website looks like. The same, whatever the contents that you find it in the header part, the same thing is also available in the footer part. Okay, so paste, and you can place it as features. Okay, and if you want to place what do you call it as your company's email ID, you can place it here. So I'll call it as info@impavid.in. So if you want, you can increase the size, or you can also change the color of it and increase the size so that it is readable. See, whenever you come to any page, any website, you can notice that this seems to be a landing page. See here how beautifully it looks like. This is how my company's website has to be looked like. Okay, so I have a prototype now. A simple prototype is being created, how my website should look like. Okay, but exactly the prototype I have not yet created. I have only completed with the design part. Okay, now I will create couple of pages and I will show you how this prototyping can be done. Okay, once the prototyping can be done, I will also show you in this particular workshop that how you can convert this design into a website. I mean, how you can convert a design into a code. That I will show you at the end. Now I have created a home page. Now what I do is I will create this login and sign up page. So click on this home page, because most of the pages will have a very similar kind of interfaces. Whatever the page that you do have, the same kind of the page will also be available in the next page. If you go to the about page, the same kind of interface will be available. So you don't have to recreate again for a couple of pages. What you can do is you just click on this home page and right click, and you can see something called as a duplicate here. I mean, you can simply duplicate the entire thing. So you copy and you can paste it. Just control and copy and paste it. Okay, maybe this is missing. If required, you can do it. Otherwise, as of now, I don't need the footer part for my login interface. So I will just try to reduce this because I'm trying to create a login interface. Okay, so here this will be renamed. I'm going to rename this. Just a minute. Okay. So here I will be changing this another page, as I'll call this as a login page. So here I got this login page. I will remove all these elements which I don't need it in my login page. I'm going to create an interface, how a login page would look like. That's my task now. Okay. So what are the things that that is required for a login page? The first and the foremost thing is you can sign in either using your what do you call it as email ID, and you provide a password. Okay. So what are the different elements that I'll be having here is I'll be taking a text here and I'll be creating something called as a login. Okay. So here you have the where the text can be placed, whether it has to be aligned right, left. You have all these options here. You can make use of it. I'll slightly increase the size of the font, something called as a login page here, click here, and let me change the color. Now it's time to create the place where you are going to enter your email ID and the password. This is only the prototype. Remember, this is only the prototype. So I'll create two rectangle box here. One where I would be trying to enter my text, I mean email ID. The other one where I'm going to use the password. And let me slightly reduce the color. Okay. And you can also set a corner for this. I think this will do my job. I'll copy this and I'll paste it here. So one is to enter my email. I'm going to enter the email here and the password will be entered here. So I'll just type a text for this email. reduce the font. So this is where it gives a provision for the user to enter the text. So I'll be reducing the opacity for this, and I'll be also taking the same thing and placing this here and change the text as password. Okay. So this gives you an interface where it straight away says that this is the place where I would like to enter my email. This is the place that where I would like to enter the password. And then finally, it's very important that if user, it's a tendency of any human being to forget the password. So why don't I give a feature that forgot password, what I have to do? Forgot password, what I have to do. So I will just reduce and I'll place it here itself. Okay. Then once you have entered your email ID and once you have entered the password, you have to submit it. And I have to create one more button here. So to create a button, again, I'm going to take the help of a rectangle. Place it here. You can change the color. And then you increase or you decrease the corner. Now you can place a text above on it. So type it as click here. Click here and let me change the color. Here you have the click and select the color. So you have the color. If you want, you can increase the font size. So click here. And to give an exact impact of a button, as I told you earlier, you have something called as an FX. When you click on this FX, you get a drop shadow. So once you click on this drop shadow effect, so you will be able to get that interface looking very similar to a button. So it gives you a feeling that once I have entered an email ID and the password, once I click on this, now you will be able to log into your page. Okay. So if you want more things to be added, or if you want to log in directly using your Google account, you can also do that. So just place another text, something like this, and you can type it as login using Google account. So you can place it exactly here. So if you have a separate email ID and the password, then you can go ahead. Otherwise, we also give a provision where you can sign in or log in using a Google account. Okay. And to give some details to it, let me add an image to this. So that gives more beautification for my design. Yes. So this is the home page what I have created, and this is the login page that what I have created. So very, very similar kind of this login page. I would also like to create a sign up page. Okay. Once I complete that sign up page, I will show you how exactly the prototyping can be done. So this, I'll just copy this. I'll paste it. Very simple. Copy and paste it. The same thing, whatever that I have done, I have copied and pasted, and I'll rename this as sign up. Sign up page. Okay. So and this will be renamed as a sign up page. Sign up page. So whenever if you are a beginner to that particular website and you would like to create a login credentials to you, you have to sign up. What you provide, you basically provide your name. Okay, then you provide an email. To provide an email. So I'll just remove all these things just by selecting it and pressing a delete button. Okay. And then I will create a couple of them. I'm going to create a couple of them. So what I have to do, I have to enter a password here, right? Password. So you have to enter, provide name, provide your email ID and create your own password. Again, create one more block and create a text here. Copy paste and you just drag it. That's all. I'm just you making use of Control C and Control V to perform a copy paste operation. Confirm password. Confirm password. So once you have done with this, what you have to do, submit it so that your account will be created. So I'll be taking the same interface here and I'll be changing the text, submit. Okay. If you want, you can also sign in using your Google account. I'll also provide a provision there. Sign up using Google account. So like this, you can create n number of pages. See, I have just created 3 different pages here so that it gives you an idea how a web page is designed. Before it is being developed, how you can design it. It gives a beautiful provision to give a prototype, I mean a layout, how a website looks like. See here, I have created a home page, I have created a login interface, then I have created a sign up interface. Once I have created an interface, now it's very, very important thing to see that how do I link from one web page to another web page. If I click on that, it has to work very similar to my website. It has to work very similar to my website. So what am I going to do is, it's very important that the prototyping has to be done. For example, what I do, here you have an option called as a prototype. Go to this prototype. Now you have a design. So far that whatever that I have done is a design part. Now I have a prototype part. Just click on this prototype part. Once you have clicked on this prototype part, now what you have to do is, now once I click on this login, this has to bring me to this particular login page. That's very, very important. Once I click on this login, this it has to bring back to the login page. Okay. Now you select this, and you have a circle here. You can notice that you have to select this first and foremost. You know that when I click on this login here, you have this login, right? You can see this login and you can see this circle. So what you have to do is you select that plus and drag it and link that particular text to the next one. So once I click on this, you can see that it has to navigate to the login page. So I'll just repeat that. First, you have to select this prototype and select the text which you have to link from one web page to another web page. Once you selected this, you have a circle here. Drag this and place it to the login page. Now it automatically gets linked to the next page. Okay, then now very similar to that, if you do not have any account, if I click on this sign up, it has to log in, it has to get linked to the sign up page. So very similar to that, just click on this, drag and place it to this. I have linked. Once I click on the sign up, it has to go to the sign up page. On click, move or navigate to the sign up page. That's what I have done here. Very similar to that. I don't want to log in and I have to move back to my home page. So select this second page. Here you have a home option. Just drag it and place it like this. That's all. Very similar to that. Here, I don't want to create a new account. I have to come back to the home page. Just click this, drag and place it to this home page. That's all. And now, say for example, unknowingly you have clicked sign up page, but you do have an account. You have to go back to the login page. So you have a login page here. You have a login page here. Just select that and drag back to this login page. So wherever you can find a text called as a login, you can create a link so that it navigates to your required page. And here, even similar to that, you can just, if you don't have a login, then you can just make a sign up option, create a new account here. See, now you can see that all the pages are being linked. Okay, you can create n number of pages. So based on the number of pages, you start doing the prototyping. You link from one web page to another web page. Right? You want to create a login using Google account, you create one more page, create a link here. Say, I'll just try to do that. So I'll make it as design. I'll come back to this design. We'll double click on this Google login. So here I will be directly providing enter Gmail, enter Gmail account. Okay, and you don't have to use the password, is not required here, and password is also not required here. Probably this is also not required at this point. You can place it, click here. So once you enter your Gmail account, it gets logged in automatically to the web page. So here I have this page, login using Google account. I'll go to this prototype, okay, and drag this link to the page so that this page will be navigated to the Google login interface. Okay, so now you can create n number of pages like this, n number of pages where you can link from one page to another page. So I will show you once I have completed the prototyping, I will show you how it actually works. I have a play button here, how you present it. Once I click on this present, so I'll start from the home page. It's going to open one more file here where it will help me to present how my website looks like. See, now this is how my website actually looks like. See, the size of the page is too much here, so that's why it has gone. It has been extended up to this. You can reduce this. Now what I have to do is, if I click on this login, it has to bring this page to the login interface page. So I just click on this. See, automatically it went to the login page. Okay. Now, once I click on this login using Google account, now this page has to open or give an access to this one. See here, you can log in by entering your Gmail account. It's as simple as that. Okay. So you can create n number of pages like this, and you can just link them. You can create a prototype of them and link how you can create a beautiful interface of a web page before you develop a website. So before I close this, I would like to show you some of the examples which I have already done, so that it will give you an idea. So I have yes, here I do have a very similar kind of one which I have did earlier. Okay, now you can see that once I click on this login page, so it enters into this login page. Once I click on this about page, it comes back to the about page. Once I click on this home page, it goes back to the home page. Once I click on this features, it goes to the feature place. See, it works very similar to our website. What I did, I just designed it. I did not develop it. I just designed it to see how my website works after development. Okay, so if you want to sign up, just click on this sign up. So this a beautiful prototyping is done here, and I will show you how it actually. Where is it? Okay, this is where I have designed it. So a couple of pages, whatever the prototype that I have shown previously, couple of pages were created, and you can see all the designs here. See, I have created 5 different pages here. 5 different designs are being created, and then I have created a prototypes for this. See, you can notice that how it has been linked. Everything is being linked. Okay, so this will give you, if I just click on this, even you can also look into how it might look like in an iPad. If I just click here, how my design might look in an iPad. So let us see how my design looks like in my iPad. You can also check how it looks like in your mobile phone, how your design looks like in your iPad, how it looks like in your website. Everything can be seen here. See, when I click this, the web about page is open. When I click this, features are seen here, and you can see that login page. You can see the sign up page. The complete interface is created to represent how it might look like in your desktop or in a tab or even in your mobile phone. So there is one more example which I would like to show you before I wind up. This is the prototype which I have developed for a mobile application. It just takes a couple of seconds to load. Yes. Okay, so this was designed for the mobile application, for a travel based application. So these 2 are the landing pages. So you can see how a landing page looks like. Okay, and I will show you the prototype of this, so you might get the idea about it, how it is, how it looks like. So you can see it works very similar to your mobile phone, right? So if I click on this get started, it will ask you whether you would like to go back or create an account, or you have to enter into a login. So if I just click on this login, it will ask me to enter the email ID and the password. Would you like to would you like to sign in using your Google account? You can also do that. Or else if you want to go back, just click on this, it takes you back. If I just create account, it will ask you to create your name, email ID, password, and confirm the password and sign up. Or if you would like to sign up using the Google account, even that is also possible. If I click on login, I have created profile, chat, whatever that I would like to add it, everything is placed here. So once I click on this, it gets signed out. See how a prototype is being created only using the design. But if you want to learn this designing, you have to fulfill all those stages which I have explained in the beginning of this session. Okay, and the last and the final part is I have created the web pages here. You can see the web pages is created. It's only designed. But once if I want to make it as a live and become more interactive, if it has to work like a regular website, you have to code it. Designing alone will not help you to make a complete website. It is only a blueprint to make how your websites can be done. But but there is a provision where once you have designed this, the design can be converted into a HTML code. Because we know that the websites are created using HTML or DHTML or XML. So you use scripting languages to make it interactive. So you have the various coding options. Without coding, you cannot bring your web page or the website live. The design is ready, but we have to convert that into a code. The design only gives you the prototype. That's the beauty of the Figma, where it is going to convert the interface or the design into a code. How you can do that, I will show you. So you can select whichever the page that you want. Just right click on this. Again, go to the plugins, and you have something called as Figma to HTML. You can see that if you have designed using the Figma, and you can just click on this Figma to HTML. Your design will be completely converted into a HTML code. So I have clicked that. It takes a few seconds to open the interface. Now you can see the complete code is created here. Depending upon your design elements, it's not 100% the same code that what you have done for your design. The accuracy rate is somewhere between 70 to 80%. The rest of the things, based looking into the design, you have to make some changes. Definitely a scripting language. So if you want to make it as a login interface to work and place it in your database, Figma alone cannot convert that into a JavaScript. It only converts into an HTML. Okay. So, but to making your website more interactive and to create a HTML code and a CSS code here, you can see the entire code is available. Okay. So if you want only the HTML part, you can just copy this, or you can download it here. If you want the CSS part, you can also get the CSS part here. Whichever that you are comfortable with, you can copy the HTML, or you can also copy the CSS. So this code has a combination of both HTML as well as CSS, but only the thing is, to make it interactive, you have to use a scripting language. Okay. So that's the beauty of the Figma, which will help you to create your design into a code part. The same thing is also available for your mobile applications, but that's a different genre. Okay, then the last one is, I would like to show you one beautiful website. Before I take up some questionnaires. I'll stop this just a minute. There is one beautiful website. See, there is one website called as Sketch to Code. So you just click on this Sketch to Code. This works based on artificial intelligence developed by Microsoft. Okay. So this is a wireframing which I had shown you, how your interface should look like. And you can also see here, you can also create your own wireframe, write it how your design has to be. Say, for example, your website should have a user login and a password. You can write that in a piece of paper, upload that, take a snapshot of that, and upload it to the website. Once you upload it, your image or your wireframe will be completely converted into a HTML code. See here, already few of them is been present here. See the payment info, card number, card name, card number, everything is available here. And once I upload this, it creates a web document, a HTML document, and which works very similar to your page. You don't have to even code it. Just click this. See here. You can completely see the pages. This is how you have created your wireframing, and this is how an HTML document is being created, how it has to be. Right? You enter the card hold name, card number, expiry date, so and so, and then you submit it. And you can also download your HTML code. So in upcoming days, probably what I can say is the coding might get extinct, but not completely. But when you learn designing approaches, it has more benefit than coding. If you know coding, as I told you earlier, it is an asset to you as a skill set. It always gives you an asset to the skill set. Okay, so that's for the day. If you have any queries, please do ask me. Just a minute. Yes. Any queries you can ask me.
Dear participants, do you have any questions? Please unmute yourself and ask.
You can also put it in the chat box.
And one more request from my side, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please provide that website link to the audience. They can make use of that.
I will send the PDF of the entire document, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much.
Whatever the design part that I have done, I will send that. Somebody has some question here. Any queries? There is a lot of potentiality even in the market for web designers rather than the developers. The work of the developers has made very simplified after this UI UX came into an existence. Before that, the developer himself has to do both the operation. He has to create, he has to design it, he has to develop. All the things has to be done by one single person or a group of people. Now the scenarios has been changed. First, the designer UI UX will be created, user interface and user experience will be created. Later by the development will happen. Okay. So if you are interested in learning few of your websites, if you want to create a mobile applications, you can start learning Figma from today. It's a very, very easy tool. And it is always an asset to develop your own websites or mobile applications. Any questions?
I hope there is no questions from the audience. Faculties, dear faculties, who and all is there in this workshop, please, if you have any queries, please ask. Otherwise, you just put it in the chat box. Yes. Vijay Kumar. Yes. Vijay, sir.
So, can I have details again what I'm talking?
No, sir. No. Your voice is not.
Voice is not audible properly.
Now it's okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So, what are all the tools you're going to make use for this designing? Can you put it out on the group so that we can go with that?
Yes, sir. Now I have shown you only the Figma, sir.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to start from the first stage, that is from the empathize state. So there are a couple of tools which I have. I will also share the PPT where I have given some of the online website tools where you can make use to create a user persona, or you can also create mood board, to create wireframes, to create what you call it as mind map, which is very, very important. Once you complete with all those stages, then we come to the prototyping. The prototyping is completely done in Figma. Figma is one of the tool. It's a very simple tool where you can create the prototypes. But before you create the prototype, there are few stages which we have to come across. All those things I'll be sharing in the PPT. Whatever the PPT that I have presented today, I'll be sharing it later by.
Okay, thanks.
Any
really good, sir.
Any other questions? Okay, fine. Santosh sir, then shall we wind up?
Yes, sir. Thank you, everyone who and all present here today, and please make use of it.